let's talk about the promotion of this movie, because it takes a lot of pride in stunt people. And this comes at a time where the Oscars, where people are clamoring for an Oscar to award and reward, I should say, stunt people in these type of films, especially with the popularity of movies like John Wick and what's evolved from there. You see people you see David Leitch and Ryan Gosling at stuntacular events at amusement parks. You see Ryan Gosling on a red carpet, and he's joined by the stuntmen next to him, and then popping through and breaking through shattered glass and being ripped right and dropped 20 feet below Ryan Gosling. Ricky Flex, what do you think about the promotion of this film? Are you liking it?
They're pulling all the stunts, pun
Fuck
intended
you.
here,
Fuck you.
to promote the heck out of this movie. You gotta respect it, and they moved this movie up. Once Deadpool Wolverine said, hey, we're not, like Marvel said, hey, we're not gonna take our normal opening May slot that they've been doing for 20 years. They said, oh, nope, we're gonna let that pass. We're gonna move Deadpool Wolverine to end of July. Ryan Gosling, David Leitch are like, hey, we'll swoop in there. Universal, we'll swoop in there and take that opening May slot, the opening summer spot. That's the money spot. That's what you want. And with a budget of $130 million, right? And all this promotion, which probably adds almost double the budget, they think they can make their money back and make $300+ million, right? Right now it's tracking at $30 to $35 million opening weekend. Not the greatest start for arguably the biggest movie star on the planet, and someone that's comparable, Emily Blunt. So even though this promotional tour seems great, the SNL skits, the Jimmy Kimmel, the stunt work there, what you said, it seems like it's still gonna miss at the box office, but like still be a decent showing for what we're accustomed to for these type of movies nowadays in 2024. But it's just like, holy crap, like it's still not gonna like make its money back quickly. Like hopefully over the long run in a worldwide release, it'll make its money back, plus like including the promotional, like I mentioned, like hit that $300 million mark. But it's gonna be a fight, and they've done all they could for this.
I agree. There's nothing else they can do in terms of promotion for this film. I think it almost is going to the point of they're trying too hard by all the clips I'm seeing on the internet. But they have the promo, they have the positive word of mouth. People online who've already seen the movie are speaking very, very highly of it.
86% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh.
Whoever thought it was going to hit that high? The movie stars, Gosling, Blunt, like this is the biggest test to see in the beginning of a blockbuster season if a non-superhero movie can kick off blockbuster season, and if people still want to go to the movie theaters. I think the failures of this movie, it's because there is no nostalgia if it doesn't make back its money, right? We're just literally relying on movie stars. We just had a podcast talking about how movie stars are kind of becoming obsolete. It's been the narrative for the last few years now, but I think literally there's almost no one's fault that this doesn't succeed in theaters. Like you can't put it on Leach, you can't put it on the production, you can't do anything. It's like they literally went balls to the wall for this.
It's crazy because again, 20 years since an original movie came out during this May opening summer slot. It's been 20 years since an original movie, right? And this has some IP. The Fall Guy, they refer to it a little bit in this movie.
It was like 40 years ago with Lee Majors.
But like the music here is all 80s, like Any Way You Want It. Journey is like using the promo a lot. They're trying to attract that audience. Our dad's gonna see this movie this weekend because of that. Not because of Ryan Gosling. So you are getting that. It's not rated R, right? Anyone But You, is that rated R?
Yeah.
No Hard Feelings. Like those movies didn't do as well. They did well at the box office, but like they did well despite having a higher rated. This is rated PG-13. Like that's like this is attracting like everybody, older, younger audiences, everyone, and it's still not tracking as well as it should. And I don't know. It's making me a little nervous. Planet of the Apes next weekend, like that's a tough like roadblock to go in because Planet of the Apes movies always do well for some reason, even though like there's no stars in that. It's just apes. So I don't know. And Doctor, I gotta say one more thing on this. So when I was watching this movie, I thought of another movie, and it's not the exact same type of movie, it's the same type of movie, but it's just not the same like story at all. I thought of Night and Day. Cameron Diaz,
wow,
Tom Cruise, right? Action rom-com type of movie. That budget was $117 million, so a little less than this. Guess how much it brought home? That was 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
$200 million.
Almost 300 million.
Wow. TC.
TC, Cameron Diaz, one of her last roles before she's about to do another movie coming up. But like, that's what this movie should be doing. So like, hopefully this makes that much. But I'm a little nervous for it.
And Night and Day came out, 2014, something like that?
I thought it was 2012, but I'll check.
All right, it's in that ballpark, but that's like the last time we had
2010.
We had that's oh my god, that's first phase of the MCU, right? It seemed like that was much more feasible here. You have like even bigger movie stars in terms of like collaboratively. Like Cameron Diaz was a huge name, right? But like Emily Blunt is the big name, but also just the way far superior talent. And Ryan Gosling's not Tom Cruise. Like there's only one Tom Cruise. There's only one TC. It's the first time we ever called him TC. Probably the last time we're gonna call him that. All right, I'm gonna stop that right now. But that's interesting that you compared it to Night and Day. Two movie stars that have pretty solid chemistry. In a movie that's not supposed to be, hey, this is like gaining 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 8.5 on IMDb. It's not that. It's literally made to be a summer blockbuster. This is a super fun movie. And I gotta drink this water really quick.
Drink.
And when it comes to the actual content of the movie, it's for movie lovers, right? It's a tribute to stunt people. It shows you the background, how films are made. I know some people are kind of fatigued by that, but also you have a character like Winston Duke in this movie who is just that best friend who quotes movies all the time.
He's the rom-com best friend, bro.
But the way he does it, it's like that someone in your friend group that only quotes movies, that grew up quoting Anchorman growing up
in our friend groups.
Sadly. Yes, that quoted Rocky growing up, right? I don't know if we were quoting Last of the Mohicans like Winston Duke in this movie, but we were referencing movies like The Fugitive. We were referencing like a cinephile's type of filmography that they come back to time and time again. Like this movie is made for people that want to have fun at the movies, a great date night, and it's made for people that straight up just want to see a movie that loves movies. It has everything. I don't know what else I could do, Ricky Flex.
Dude, it had Ode to Dune, invasion, the sand battles, the song,
decades of film, pans to every single audience.
Miami Vice,
be there. Miami Vice, yes, Ricky. I also want to say I love that we're keeping this like meta type of thing where Ryan Gosling has an awesome jacket and everything he's in.
Yeah,
whether it goes Drive in 2012, whether it's Barbie, right, from last year, or it's the Miami Vice jacket here. I think every movie now he's just going to have an absolutely electric jacket. It just comes with the repertoire.
Yeah, Barbie had a great jacket. It's like he's what do you call it? That's his signature. Yes, specialty. It's his signature, his specialty. It's great.
Calling card.
Now, you just said it. This is a great date night movie. Great action, like Ode to Hollywood type of thing, right? Stunt-wise, movie references-wise, movie star-wise. But let's address this 86% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes for a second here. I just mentioned Night and Day. Okay? Before I say that Rotten Tomatoes score, do you like this movie better than Night and Day? And if so, by how much, or vice versa?
I was never a huge fan of Night and Day. That was a movie I never sat down and watched all the way through. I didn't see that in theaters. That was on TBS, and I would catch bits and pieces. And by the time a year goes by and they're playing it every other Saturday morning, I've seen the entire movie. But like the stunts are pretty cool, Night and Day, right?
And he does them himself, which is great. But like the point is, like this movie, I would say critically is probably the same as Night and Day. Would you agree?
Yes, but the performances in this movie are better.
I think Tom Cruise, hey, Homer aside, Tom Cruise is great in Night and Day.
Okay, but I think Ryan Gosling,
I think Emily Blunt's better in this.
Tom Cruise made Night and Day, but I think Ryan Gosling and the chemistry with Emily Blunt, these are modern day like movie stars. Like right now, like Tom Cruise is still that, Cameron Diaz is gone, but like they make the movie.
Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that there's not a big discrepancy in the type of movie and the quality of movie. No. I don't think this is light years better than Night and Day. Yet this has an 86% certified fresh, and Night and Day has a 52% rotten.
Maybe we were getting better action movies like consistently back then.
Yeah, that's a part of it. But I also think it's like, oh, this Gosling momentum. Emily
Yeah.
Blunt even has momentum. People are just falling in love with their charisma and the chemistry on set. Versus like back then, it was like kind of the end of that era. And I just think this is a little inflated. Like not a little. This is Rotten Tomato score very inflated. If we had to be honest, this is
Yeah.
very inflated.
It's very inflated.
Like,
But it has two very likable stars that were these two were nominated for Oscars for the two biggest movies of last year, a part of the biggest theatrical event. That's also why it's mind-boggling how I feel like Will Ferrell in what's it called, Blades of Glory. Mind-boggling, when your thoughts feel like they're trapped in a bottle. But it's just mind-boggling that this movie is now a smash, right? With the word of mouth and everything we've talked about before. Okay. They were the best part of the movie. I thought the
mm,
performances, we can get into it a little bit. This goes with Gosling, can do everything, right? If you want him to lean more comedy, he can do that. He has amazing chemistry with any female lead he's in. Going back to The Notebook, right? Going to Crazy Stupid Love, right? Even his awkward chemistry with Margot Robbie is excellent in Barbie, right? Even if they're kind of like on different ends of the spectrum there. And then this one with Emily Blunt. You could put any female next to him and he's just a smooth talker. And if he has someone at least like um capable on the other side, it's gonna do fine. And then it's Emily Blunt who also can bring it back to him. It's like, damn, these are just movie stars being movie stars. The action sequences are very good, but as expected in a movie about stunt people or tribute to stunt people. But in terms of everything happening around it, very subpar. That's where it's like, that's why like Night and Day is a good comparison. It's not like Night and Day like comes to the tip of your tongue like, what are the best action movies of the early
yeah,
2010s? No one says Night and Day, but like when it comes to everything around it, you're like, I kind of see the similarity.
right. And I also just want to shout out another performance. The Winston Duke I did like as the rom com best friend.
I thought he
I
was
thought
okay.
he was good, and he had his moment in the second act when he's with Gosling and they're throwing back movie references lines like we've mentioned before, Last of the Mohicans, Rocky, and whatnot. I liked it. I thought it was very enjoyable. I'm not gonna say this guy deserves an Oscar or he should be playing Batman like he's been trying to point. I know he was the podcast series Bruce Wayne. I know, but I'm just saying he was good in this.
He was good in it, but anyone could do that role. I,
Yeah.
I think if you are just a charismatic dude who loves movies, this is kind of Winston Duke carrying along his performance in a way from Wakanda Forever, where it was like unexpectedly hammy, and
Yeah, you're right.
he's such a big dominating type of presence on the screen. And when he brings that type of comedy, you're like, oh, he is pretty multifaceted. He is good in this, right? I'm not gonna say it's one of my favorite performances of the year, but I look at that character, I'm like, that dude is me. That dude is me who's always trying to make a movie reference in any type of situation, no matter if it's sad, happy, dangerous, whatever it may be. I'm trying to make a movie reference. That's why this movie is like made for cinephiles. He was good in it though. You know who I didn't like is Hannah Waddingham.
Mm.
Ted Lasso. First off, the writing of her character, you knew. I don't the predictability. I'll leave it like spoiler free right now. The predictability of her character, it was like most you're taking your audience as dumb with that type of performance. All right, not subtle whatsoever. Literally throughout the entire movie, it's a little too extra for me. I liked her in Ted Lasso. She's been getting a lot of roles after Ted Lasso, but I never found like myself saying, "Oh, she is going to be massive after Ted Lasso." This is the kind of role I would expect her to be in, and I just thought she flat out wasn't good in a movie where you're not really supposed to be taking away the performances are good. You know what I mean? You just have to do your job.
This movie is clearly focused on the action, the one-liners over, the story and the supporting characters, and that again, go back to that 86 certified fresh inflation. But yeah, you're right. She wasn't great in this, and the story didn't help. Like that, just the plot didn't help her out. I think that
Dialogue was terrible with her, dude. Dialogue was
it
bad, bad, bad with her.
yeah. So I'm not gonna put the blame on her entirely, but yeah, it was tough.
Emily Blunt, I think we should talk about a little bit in a movie that was full of stunt work. She kind of is left on the outside a bit here. They try to give her a little bit of shine in this movie. She kind of just has to rely on her charisma and has to just have that great chemistry with Ryan Gosling. I felt like she was great in this movie when she really didn't have to put much of an effort, in this type of role. And she's very similar to Gosling, where she can do anything. She can do anything. Like she could be an Oppenheimer. She could be alongside Cillian Murphy, and then she can go and like be alongside Ryan Gosling and just have a fun-loving time with the audience. I thought she was really good and funny. This movie was very funny, especially with those two characters and Winston Duke. Like those three, when they were on the screen, like you were pretty much guaranteed at least a laugh. Or
Yeah.
you're getting a sick action scene with Ryan Gosling. There was never a dull moment when any of them were on screen. I think of one of the funniest moments is her character, who is a stunt coordinator turned director, right?
Or a camera. She's camera.
She's a camera. She's on the camera. But she then becomes a director for this movie Metal Storm, right? That's supposed to be like this version of Dune, but a little bit cornier version of Dune, more like blockbustery version of Dune.
Cowboys versus aliens.
The Cowboys versus aliens, like definitely a reference in this movie. But the scene where she is basically directing the stuntman Ryan Gosling and then kind of having it out in terms of what went wrong with their relationship, nonstop laughs, nonstop, and she's underratedly funny.
Totally agree. So she was definitely playing like the straight person, even though she was funny, to Gosling, goofiness, charming, whatever. It was just kind of weird though, because like what I was thinking through is two things. One, I stock up. All the Oppenheimer haters on her performance / Nolan, how he wrote her, Oppie's wife wrote Emily Blunt in that. Okay, fine. But after this, you cannot like say like, oh wow, because she could have completely mailed it in. Yeah. This is an easy mail it in, playing the straight guy, just got to be there and look good. No. She actually put in some effort and put in some charm in this, and it was good. Put in a good performance. I was also thinking the second thing is, man, like obviously the role is she's a director, right? She's not a stuntman. But I'm thinking Edge of Tomorrow. I'm like, she could probably put in some work if you know what I see you shaking your head.
No, I'm saying in a good way. I'm like, it's like we forget she is one of the best like female action performances of the last decade.
Yeah, I'm like, holy crap! Like maybe if you do obviously not a spin-off, but like you could have changed it where like she's also a stuntman and they're together through that because they're both stunt workers on Hollywood, or you change the story some way so she's also doing stunts. I don't know, like. Or maybe I don't know if she does that anymore. She did Jungle Cruise, but like, I don't know if there's any stunts really in that. But like, what I'm saying is, I was just like, this is Edge of Tomorrow, Emily Blunt, and she's just the director here with the hat, the bucket hat or whatever. I was like, damn, like, she could be doing this.
Yeah, she could. They could have swapped roles. Honestly, they could have just swapped. That's how talented these two people are. Like Emily Blunt, you brought up Edge of Tomorrow, dude. She's in frickin' Sicario, bro. She's in frickin' Sicario. She's a badass of all badasses. And then she can get nominated for being this alcoholic wife of J. Robert Oppenheimer. And then she can go do The Fall Guy with David Leitch. Like her versatility is freaking amazing. She's a
like
true blue movie star.
Straight up arrow for stock up.
I will defend her performance in Oppenheimer. I thought she was excellent. I thought the problem with her is that she had limited screen time. I thought she had some of the most emotionally impactful moments from that movie. You could argue she's a little bit one note, but when you're being put up for best supporting actor, actress, a lot of times those performances are one note, right? It's just you're dealing with the screen time you have and you're bringing what the movie needs. You're not really asked to do as much as a Cillian Murphy, right? Okay. Where else do I want to go here? We got to talk about action sequences. This movie is a tribute to stunt people. Ricky Flex, there were some really jaw-dropping type of action sequences here. Ones that what comes to mind is the one I was anticipating so much is one from the trailer, Ryan Gosling in the neon suit and him like dancing in the slow-mo. You get an amazing explosive action sequence there. Visuals on point, right? Ryan Gosling on some hallucinogenics. I don't know what drug he was taking at that time. Minor spoiler there, but that was definitely my favorite action scene. There's a great chase in the middle of this. Every type of action sequence you can think of, like what a stunt person would need to do, they kind of covered it in this movie. I thought it was excellent. What do you think of the stunts?
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you.
Okay.
I thought the stunts were good, but the hallucinogenic one.
You didn't like that?
So spoiler a little bit here, but not really. The trailer shows it a little bit, but they change it in the movie. I'd rather see him just freaking hit the people. They made it too cute. It's
This is
too
David
cute.
Leitch. A little
And
absurdity to it.
oh, but still at the same time, if you look back at David Leitch, like even Bullet Train, they didn't get they got too cute sometimes, but like the best part was when Brad Pitt and like was beating the crap out of Bad Bunny. Like that was an awesome scene. Or Atomic Blonde, or John Wick when he gets the uncredited director of John Wick. I kind of want to see just like stunt choreograph of just fighting, not just like getting too cute and silly. That's why like another thing was like the CGI, like in the third act with the helicopter or
It got
in the
zany,
garbage
dude.
truck, and like it was just like, dude, just keep it practical. This is a stunt movie for a reason. You could have got the budget lower. Like I was just like, oh, so I think the action scenes are good, but I honestly was expecting a little more for this movie.
Oh, Ricky, I don't think there was much CGI. I think that's the point of the movie.
But you could
Ri-
tell there was
okay,
CGI. That's the
I
problem.
okay, okay. I think it was way more obvious in Bullet Train that there was CGI. By the way, I think here what I liked about the action is that at the end of the movie, in the credit reel, you have them showing them doing the practical stunts. That was such a great way. That was one of the best like credit type of reels that I've seen in a movie in quite a long time. Where we stay around for stingers for Marvel movies, but like literally in a movie that's paying homage to stunt people, we're showing the behind the scenes of the stunts that are being done for a movie for Ryan Gosling, for whatever character, people getting lit on fire, how they did that, people in the in the trucks chasing sequence, how they pulled that off. I thought that was really, really cool. And that made me just respect the action sequences a little bit more. Um, I'm surprised you didn't like the club scene. That was my favorite. I thought because that was pure David Leitch. And what I think David Leitch is so good at, he's great at those club sequences. You think of John Wick, right? Him working with Chad Stahelski. Um, uh, but I think I think he does that's similar. It's like what Matthew Vaughn does and tried to do with Argyle, but I think it's pulled off better in this movie. I just think that Leach has the Deadpool too, right? Ness of that type of fight sequences and that choreography. I
Yeah.
think that's what he's best at. So I thought that worked. What I think was bad, and like the fight sequences and the action was great. The chemistry between the two leads, great. But I think the movie didn't flow together when you went from one type of movie to the next. When you went from a romantic comedy to a straight up action sequence, I just thought it wasn't cut up very well. I just thought the story felt a little bit like we were colliding a little bit. We're getting jumbled up a little bit. It felt weird when he's going on these action escapades and still trying to and then he goes on these action escapades and then he's trying to flirt with Emily Blunt's character 5 seconds later. Like I didn't expect it to feel like choppy in a way.
Yeah, choppy, clunky for sure. Even the intro scene was like kind of weird, but like the editing overall just wasn't great, and the script didn't help with it either. So totally agree.
Yeah, I think that was my biggest flaw. Like it was so good at the
Big one.
one-on-one chemistry, and I thought the action sequences were also very good, but they couldn't find a way to kind of put them together in a way that I thought was super effective. But was it enjoyable? Absolutely. Do I like watching movie stars? Yes. Do I like watching shit blow up? Yes. So overall, definitely an enjoyable experience. Before we get to scores, Ricky Flex, I want to know: do you have any flaws or any other comments that you want to bring up about the movie that stuck out?
No, that you pretty much right there said the biggest and a big flaw of the movie. And I think the third act as well was all over the place. Not just from a story standpoint, editing standpoint, but also action sequence that it didn't earn like the setup of the big fight sequence. It didn't earn it because it was just like kind of out of nowhere, random. It just hit you. It was like, oh, whoa, we're doing this now, and like it was kind of just really quick, and it's just like, oh, we're here. I don't know. It didn't feel right at all. So I think that's just the other thing I would say that was a big flaw of the movie.
It almost felt like an eagerness. Let's get to the fight sequence. Let's get to the action because this is what people need to see. This is what we promoted the movie around.
Yes.
We need to get to the fight sequences, right? And sometimes let it breathe a little bit, just rely on the star power of the two actors, the two leads here. I think it was a good tribute to Lee Majors, by the way, at the end of this film. Our dad will definitely be happy. And right when we walked out, I was like, this is the type of movie our dad will love. Our dad will just be able to watch it. He won't have to think much about it. He won't care about like the zaniness or absurdity that you see in like the third act of this movie. He's just there for a great time, and he loves Lee Majors, right? And he's just looking for a nice tribute. Quick spoiler here for that post credit. That post credit, Lee Majors, first of all, looks great, sounds great, but like, did they hire people off the street like to be the cops in that scene? I think Aaron Taylor Johnson even made a joke in that scene saying, saying like, you guys aren't even real cops, like in the scene. But the person next to him, his partner, looks so fake and looks so like they grabbed someone from behind the scenes just to put on this suit because Lee Majors was on set. It looked really thrown together in my eyes.
Yeah, so the Fall Guy TV series, I'm reading the synopsis. The adventures of a film stuntman who moonlights as a bounty hunter when movie work is slow. So I don't know, maybe the cops, they were like cops that he used to work with a lot, or turn people like as a bounty hunter, like would turn them into, and like that was like, oh, that's the cop. I don't know.
It was like a young Asian woman. Like I thought it was a stripper for a second. That's how like they look more like a stripper than they did like a cop.
Side note.
Oh, whoa, where are we going?
Stephanie Sue was in this movie.
Dude, what is she doesn't know what she wants to be. That's her problem. She's too young. It's like she gets nominated for an Oscar as a teenager.
Shouldn't
like,
have been, but
for Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? She definitely deserved it, I think, more than Jamie Lee Curtis, who freaking won the Oscar. But I digress. Do you see her in this movie? I think she's gonna be. What is she gonna be in? Like I don't even know.
She was in Joyride. I picked it last year.
She was in Joyride, right? Like that one. It seems like that's. I mean, it's like an Asian centric movie. It's just like this. It just lines up perfectly and comedic. I think she should do comedy, but I don't think she should be in a Ryan Gosling movie for 8 minutes. You know, like to me, it's like you didn't have to do this. I didn't consider her a scene stealer. I thought she was good. I thought she was good.
She has 2 TV series coming out, one in pre-production, one in post-production.
That's not a bad.
And then she's going to be a voice in something that's in post-production coming out this year, animated movie.
She definitely, I could see her as a voice. Like she's definitely as like a teenage, like maybe a middle school type of like Pixar like voice. I could see that, but I don't. She's just she got nominated so young that she doesn't even know what type of star she is yet. She doesn't even know what type of actor she is. We don't know she's a star. Like not 8 minutes of screen time. You know, it's like
Joyride, like good critically, bad at the box office. Also, like you said, part culturally, but yeah, I don't know. That was also like she doesn't fit in this movie.
Anybody else in this movie? I felt like I was watching.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Right,
dude, the guy.
Aaron Taylor Johnson we haven't mentioned.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. But I wanted to say one of the funniest characters, if not the funniest, was the assistant to Emily Blunt's character. That's like the Danny. I kept on thinking too, like Danny McBride should be in this movie based on like Tropic Thunder. I'm like, I wish he was in this movie, but he would just steal the show and take the shine away from everybody else. But the assistant to her was also very, very funny. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he was like, it was kind of unexpected, the direction of his character, based on what we saw with the trailers. It was kind of predictable at the same time. You know, I shouldn't say too unexpected, but I thought he was good. You know, I don't know what he was just playing something an over the top actor. You know, I feel like he didn't have to like really like channel anything here. I just kind of thought he was okay and was a little eccentric and kind of still gave way to the 2 movie stars. You could tell he's not on that level, but like could be our next Bond. So it's like interesting that he's like
he's a good actor. But yeah, you were loving Nigel, the Emily Blunt's assistant. You were chuckling nonstop.
That guy was hilarious, bro.
That guy was but you were loving him.
I was like, I'm not gonna like this guy. Then the line started hitting. I'm like, damn, he knows his role. He knows his role.
He knew the assignment.
He did know the assignment. Ricky Flex, I think we throw out some scores here. What did you give David Leitch's The Fall Guy?
68.
Okay, 70 for Dr. O.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,